Uh, welcome, 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 everybody. I'm so glad you are here. My apologies for missing the last two Wow Wednesdays because I was traveling, but I appreciated the fact that Dr. Sheila was able to take my place. And now I'm taking Dr. Sheila's place today. So she just came back from a trip as well. But welcome to our Wow Wednesdays testimonial call. I'm going to go over the disclaimer real quick. Um, Let me admit these people too. Okay, so our disclaimer is the AO scan technology is not a medical device. The statements that we share here have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, or prevent any disease. If you are sick, please consult with your healthcare provider. So, the purpose of this Wow Wednesday call is to share our testimonials. The testimonials can be on the AO scanner, it can be on the 660 band, the red light therapy, the inner illuminator, it can be on our supplements, it can be on what we're using frequency wise to help people and the testimonials that come from that. I have a couple. I know that there's many on this call that have some. So if you were invited by somebody from this call, please refer back to that person at the end of the call if you are interested in knowing more. Um, because we just want to get this into the hands of everybody that we can because it is making huge impacts on people's health, well-being, their abundance. Um, I know I ran abundance on myself probably 2 or 3 days ago, and it's like all this money just kept coming in and coming again, and I'm like, wow, whoa, this is amazing. Okay, let's do this again. So it works. I mean, it works on even the simplest things that you wouldn't even think. And I have a new way that I'm going to start using it with some clients, and I'll teach you guys about it too. It's something I learned from another friend, and we'll discuss that tonight. But I want to open it up and just let anybody that would like to share any of their testimonials just unmute yourself and go ahead and share. And I'm going to take the disclaimer away and just open up the room. So feel free to unmute yourself and just share anything you may have.
Hi, Tammy. I'll share first today.
Go for it, Deb.
And of course, I have another teenager, testimony. Once again, just it's been back and forth. Most of you know my story. My teenagers just really struggled since COVID. And then we had a close family friend commit suicide in February. And it's just been kind of touch and go since then. And he kind of just bailed on school, I mean, he's just been apathetic and laid in bed and just, really I see it so prevalent in these, I call them COVID kids. And repeatedly, I have tried to, use the scanner on him and work with him with frequencies. And I scan him and then I have a playlist for Jacob that, in fact, I use it for everything because it's just so good. I've gotten it down after tweaking it for 2 years now. And, I use it and it's just amazing how when if I back off and just because he graduated high school in July. So I backed off and let him, let's see if he can steer his own boat. He's 17 and a half. He graduated early. Wants so bad to be an adult, but he makes such bad decisions because, he don't have any money management skills or even have any true concept of anything because he's a spoiled kid. And, we've provided well for him. Although we're military and we're not that bad, but still, they haven't wanted for anything. And Tigger, stop. So anyway, again, he got very surly, very sarcastic, just very, very, not wanting to do anything, didn't want to get a job, didn't want to do participate in housework, anything. And last week I picked up the scanner and started scanning him and doing stuffies on him again. And wow, the child is just so pleasant to be around now. And if you have teenage children, if you have trouble issues with people in life, now obviously consent's huge for us. So Jacob is under 18. I can treat him without consent, and I actually feel comfortable doing that with my own child after he turns 18. because he still needs my direction regardless of his age. I may not do that to him when he's 25, but for now, we're going to continue the way we are. But I just cannot begin to tell you what a tool this has been in my life, because literally in the last 2 years, there's been times I've worried about suicide with my child and stuff, just because of the apathy. And you got to be like, dude, you're doing nothing but laying in bed staring at your phone. You have to be depressed. I mean, that
Right.
just has to be part of it, whether you speak to me in a rational manner or not. So I've just really found it to be like, it's the only thing that's gotten my family through the last 2 years. It's the only thing that's gotten us through graduation. And right now he's going to college and he's doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And I checked his grades on Sunday, which I'm not actually really doing, but I had to go in and check and make sure his financial aid and all that other stuff was taken care of. That is part of what I'm still considering my mentoring phase for them, their first year in college. So he's doing all his schoolwork, he's on time, and he's got A's. So I'm
Nice.
just really, really blessed and so grateful. And I just have to tell people that, because these COVID kids and these younger generations, they're not the same. They don't think the same. They don't. I can't communicate with my child without the scanner.
That's unfortunate, but I'm so glad you have this tool for sure because like you said, what else would there have been? I mean, it could have been drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be other things, and yet you're supporting him with
Oh, he's
something that
been
his body wants.
he's been in all of those things. Like, I mean, he's done the alcohol, he's done the marijuana. Now, my influence, I've probably influenced this child more than anybody else, and he's very anti-chemical. So I'm probably very lucky in that respect. But I will tell you, over the last 2 months since he's graduated and the stuff, he's really drifted away from. I'm not saying that he's completely clean or anything like that, but dude, the trouble in that area has so much diminished that I just had this conversation with my husband before this meeting.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that things are working out. That just it warms my heart to know that too. So
Well, thank
thank
you
you
for
so
introducing
much.
me to it, Tammy, and thank you for letting me follow in your footsteps, because I am exactly 2 years behind you, girl.
Well, glad to have you. All right, Lene, go ahead, sister.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know that okay, so I don't know, somewhere in the chat I said I went through with the breakup and it's been tough, but um faithfully the the person I was with before has been sending me voice clips every single day without fail, and I've been scanning him. He before I left him, then he was itching really bad. He couldn't figure out what it was, but he was itching and it was just so uncomfortable for him. Anyways, one of the scans that I did for him, I scanned him and then he looked down a little bit further on the scans and it said something about scabies, which is a mite. Anyways, and so he scrolled down on what to do for it. And it said on there, I mean, I don't know for sure if it said for sure on there, but it said ivermectin and wormwood. So he started to take the two, and he started to take the two faithfully. And I told him, I says, you need to take them around the full moon because that's when it's most active. So he started to take them, and he took them faithfully for about 2 weeks. And then he went and said he went and took a lavender bath. When he took a lavender bath, he says there was mites, dead mites everywhere at the bottom of the tub.
Oh, wow.
He said it was gross and yucky, but the lavender oil uh, also brings out a lot of parasites and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he says that he says he stopped itching. He says the itching just totally went away. And then told him, I says, well, you need to do it again in 2 weeks because that's where the the larva and stuff like that. So yeah, make sure you do it again in 2 weeks. Take a break from it and then do it again in 2 weeks. So he did that, and he says the itching has completely gone away. Also, I did the voice clips and voice scans. He's been doing them. So when I first started to do them on him when he was with me, he couldn't stand those tones. He says there was a frequency in there that he would put them into his ears and then he'd immediately want to take his earbuds off. He couldn't stand them. But he's been putting them on and listening to them every single day. And he says he has twice the energy than he ever had before. He says his own family members are coming up to him and saying, "Wow, Dave, I don't know what's gotten into you. You're a different person." There was some things because I wanted to move on with him. I wanted to live a life with him. I wanted to live with him and stuff like that. And everything he'd do, nothing would ever work. And it's like he was so emotionally not there that he didn't care whether we live a life together or not. And I seriously thought that he just wasn't into me anymore and wanted to just be done. I didn't want to keep him trapped here. So I said, "Okay, we're done." Anyways, he says he's been doing it. And he says that one day after listening to the tones, he sat there and he says, "You know what? I just I nearly let the love of my life completely go." And he says he just had to stop there and think about it for a minute. But he says he's been coming to more understanding and realization of what I was trying to tell him for the last 2 years.
Wow.
And he says his mind, he says he thinks clear. He thinks clear, and everything that I ever said to him before, he says he's starting to remember everything that I had told him.
Wow. That's incredible, Lene. That's kind of the results I saw, but I was quietly doing the scans and stuff when I first got it. But to have Scott say, "What are you doing? Because something's changing, something's shifting." But I was quiet about it. So that's incredible that it's changing and it's helping him and he's noticing it.
So there might be a chance. I mean, we're not totally broke up, but I just needed him to go figure out what he wanted. And that's what he came to realize is like, oh my word, I almost just let the love of my life out of my life.
Yeah.
So it does repair relationships. I can see that and think that way. So I highly suggest the AL scanner.
Yep. Thank you for sharing. That's incredible. All right. Does anybody else like to share anything? You can just unmute yourself and just share anything that you may have as far as testimonials go. And you don't have to be on camera. It's not necessary to be on camera. If you don't want to be on camera, go right ahead and just unmute. Go ahead, Shelley.
So I told you, but I'll tell everybody else. I went to the chiropractor and I took a picture of my vertebrae with me, and he was very interested. And he says, "Well, this is interesting. Let's see how accurate." And before I left, he wanted all the information, and he made sure he said it twice. And I'm telling you, he's a hard one. I've done a lot of supplements over the years. And he's like very stuck in his ways, but I was very excited about that. I haven't connected back up with him. I see him next week again, but
Nice.
yeah. So I'm very
You should
excited about that.
give him a 3-day pass and let him give it a try. That way you can just let him do it.
I did suggest that to him. So he was he says, he'll look into it, but it's like I said, he's a hard one.
Nice.
He's a great doctor, and he's really into like technology and stuff, and he's really good. But
that's great. That's great. It's all about sharing, you guys. You can just share something tiny. I know I was wearing uh oh, it was my necklace. Somebody was asking me about my necklace. I said, well, it's kind of a replica of my company, their logo. And of course that just got into a discussion, and they're like, well, what's this AO scan thing that you're saying? So then I just opened the door, and that way you can, share. So just share, share, share. All right, Lee, go right ahead. And
Hey,
welcome.
how are you doing?
We are doing great. How are you?
Doing great. I almost forgot. Um,
Glad
I
to
was
have you.
I was wanting to ask Shelley when she said she took an image of a vertebrae to the chiropractor. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I did the comprehensive, and I did it on the vertebrae, and then I just pulled it up on my computer and screenshotted it and printed it. And when I took, and it tells you what's out of balance and stuff. And so when he did his exam and stuff, and he was looking to see where I'm out of balance, it matched up. It matched up perfectly.
That's
He,
awesome.
he was very impressed. Like I said, he's not easily taken by anything.
So do you have the database as well where you can you go deeper, or is that just from the comprehensive? He saw what was out of balance by the number.
I only took the comprehensive. I mean, I do have the database, but I only took the comprehensive. That's all I took. And I told him, I says, there's like so much that this can do, but this, if nothing else, this is like so helpful.
That is awesome. I love that.
So
And I was
I'm gonna take my son's this next week that I go. My son that's on, has autism and is nonverbal. I'm gonna take his and see how it lines up with him. And he'll be really impressed with that, because we get no words out of my son because he's nonverbal. So we don't know it's like a stab in the dark to like, is this still hurting or something, or no, most of the time he fixes the issues and stuff because he has a lot of sensory issues. But I know that I'm just seeing really great results all around. I'm just impressed.
That's amazing. That's encouraging. And the other lady that was talking about relationship, I didn't catch her name.
Lynette.
What did you run?
I just did the inner voice. I did the whole easy scan.
Wow.
I did the easy scan and the body systems.
And it just kept optimizing until it okay.
Every day. He listened to it 3 times a day.
Wow, that is powerful.
Now, did you do a new one, or did he just listen to that one inner voice 3 times that day?
It was just the one inner voice, but I told him he needed to send one in the morning and at night.
Yeah.
So it can re-optimize every single time.
Yeah, that would be a lot better. But hey, one time a day is better than none at all.
That was it was incredible. Like I say, his father noticed a difference in him, his brothers, and they're just like, what's with you? You're a different. So
that's nice.
Even I noticed it, and I'm like, okay, you were this person 2 weeks ago, now you're a whole different person. So
It's the same way with my son. And just so y'all know, I'm not actually using his voice. I do an easy scan on him usually at least twice a day as well. But I just remain silent and think of him while the scan is running and quantum entanglement. And then I do my best to either, like, if I'm having a conversation with him, sometimes I'll sneak recording him, or what I do though is I play the music in the background when he's around me.
well, I know
I'm still using the same things that Lenee's getting and getting those kinds of results as well, but I'm using quantum entanglement to accomplish it.
No. Well, I have another I'm to, and he has been very suicidal. It's gotten to the point to where, trying to convince him and show him what the AL scanner is like trying to tell somebody what. I mean, there's some people that don't understand and don't even want to take the time to try to understand. So I kind of just sat back and just used the power of prayer. And it's amazing. I mean, I saw another little thing that, because so like I say, he was suicidal. It was scary, but he made a post on TikTok that said, God, he says, God, I know my mission on earth is not yet filled. Show me the path, show me which path I have to go, or something like that. And, you know, I didn't even really do the AL scanner on him, but it was my thoughts. It was me putting that out there every single day for him, every day, that brought him to that. Oh, I know what suicidal is. I lost 4 of my very close cousins to suicide. And it's heart-wrenching.
Yeah, very much. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else have anything that they'd like to share?
I'll go.
Go for it, Cynthia.
Oh, I don't want the picture. Hello.
Hello, hello.
So I mentioned it later in the chat. I believe it was the first one I attended back in August. Someone mentioned running frequencies for blood clots. And I was like, oh, so I went through, pulled it up, and I immediately felt it start to work, because that was something that I was dealing with. It was constantly coming up on my scans. And I actually ended up in the hospital because it was one coming up on my scan. I could always tell my blood wasn't pumping the way it should be. So once I found that, I've literally been running it daily. And sometimes I'll see like blood pool like in my thigh, or it'll pool in my foot. And I would run this scan, and next thing you know, like I can literally feel where the blood had been held up in my body. And I'm just, I don't know, that was one exciting thing for me, because I struggle with that. And I was always thinking something was wrong. I knew what was going on. I had like this blood clotting disorder, but I can literally feel my blood flow. I can breathe better. I have more clarity in my brain by running just blood clots. Sometimes I'll just do it overnight, because I wake up like, and I can feel the tension in my body.
Wow.
Yes.
That's incredible, Cynthia. That is incredible. I'm glad you have this then, because if you've got a disorder with it, this is going to be amazing for you. That's incredible. You know, I've got several people that, especially my mom, she'll tell me that she can feel the frequencies too when we're playing it on her. Or now she runs it herself, but whenever I would run it for her, she's like, what are you doing? I can tell you're doing something with me, and I don't like the way that one feels. Can you change it up? Okay, Mom.
And I was just wondering if other people could feel it when I ran it on them, because whenever I do it for myself, I can feel it.
Yeah.
And so I did one for my mom, and of course she's in a totally different state, and she didn't know, but she was telling me that she'd been having some pain in her hip. I didn't say, because sometimes, especially my dad, he still hasn't wrapped his mind around it, even though I've told him, like, kind of think of it as a prayer, and even refer to it to David in the Bible, and playing specific frequencies for specific things, because that's how his mind works. But he's still like, I don't know. But my mom told me she was having hip pain, so I just played it, and I didn't tell her. But then I checked back, and it was like, oh, so how's she? She was like, you know what? I don't feel any pain anymore. And I'm like, I wonder why.
Wow. Well, that kind of takes me to what I wanted to share with you guys, and I have not tried this yet. I know that I've shared with you all about the erase button, and how you can put the erase button against anything that might be ailing you or making pain or whatever it is. You can put the erase button up to that area a few times and hit the erase button. You know, it may take 3 or 4 times to do it. Well, this friend of mine told me that she's also doing something where she's like a surrogate for a client. So she's doing this long distance. Okay. So she has a client that says, "Hey, I have hip pain." She actually says a prayer first, asks for Holy Spirit's guidance in this, or the higher, however you guys believe, just take it for what it's worth. I choose to believe that the creator's in charge of everything. But she says a prayer, she connects with their subconscious by muscle testing and asking, and then she will pull them up on her scanner if she has them, and then she will be the surrogate. She will actually place that against her body in the pain area. Yes, quantum entanglement. And she will put the scanner up to the painful area, hit the erase button, and then she takes it a step further and she will actually do the playlist and put the playlist up against the body part, whatever it is that she's trying to support. So she's like the surrogate. And every one of her people that she's been using this on have had nothing but positive responses. So, and of course, I was talking to Becky Coots about this while I was visiting with her, and she goes, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, "Well, crap. I can't tell her nothing new." So, it's just another little thing that you can do if you feel comfortable doing that, and if you have the permission from the person that you're working with, because you've got to have that permission, unless you're working on like your minor kids or whatever. So, but anyway, just give that a try. I have another testimonial where someone reached out to me about an animal. The dog is 4 years old and it's having troubles walking. Well, I scanned the animal. I saw some of the key things and I said, "You know what? I'm thinking he's got this, this, and this going on. You might need to check into maybe adding some different nutrients." Scanned and optimized the spine where he's having some issues. And she goes, "My gosh," she goes, could this really be working?" And I said, "Absolutely." I said, "Why? What are you noticing?" And she says, "Well, I'm noticing that he's not as in much pain as he was." And I said, "Well, it could very well be that, we scanned, we optimize. I'm broadcasting Cephis for him." Well, now she has a 3-day pass, so she's going to start working on her dog and seeing how, but she's in the UK. So that's how far of a distance I'm working on this little dog, that far away. Of course, that was a couple of days ago. Now she's got 3-day pass and she's working on her dog. But it's just amazing what this tool can do, and it's all remote. I mean, you can do all of this remotely. So anyway, that's just my little testimonial. Anybody else want to share anything or have any questions about what I shared?
Tammy, I would like to share about a girl that I'm treating remotely in the exact same manner. She's been having ear infect, like her ears get so infected they swell shut. They
Mm-hmm.
have pus coming out of them. They scale, and it's been going on for 2 years. Coincidentally, ever since some new item came out, and I have been working with her, and I actually have a playlist that I put together for her where I actually use a terahertz wand remotely in my playlist. I actually beam it at the scanner while I'm creating the playlist. And I also, we're doing Cephi dots with her playlist. And I also, I put everything in it and I do that. And I have them putting the Cephi dots right behind her ears. They have been giving this girl antibiotics for 2 years straight. For the very first time, her mama walked into Arkansas Children's in Little Rock and said, "We're not doing that anymore because it's not working." And the doctor looked at her and said, "Oh my gosh, well, you know what? You're right. Let's do some tests." And then they came back with some tests because I would work on her and it would go away and then it would come back. Anytime we dropped the ball and didn't keep right on top of it, it would come back. Well, then when they did the tests on it, and we saw the results, and it was like fungal this and fungal that and this bacteria and that bacteria. I started looking up the bacteria and I'm like, this is strep. It's strep. So we then tweaked her playlist even more, and I literally, use these other modalities in conjunction with, and it's completely, and it's just like with my son. When I do his inner voice scan, I just remain quiet and concentrate on him. And it's all about and yes, Becky's the one who's taught me all of this. Yes, it actually is. And Nadia too. So I really, there's a lot of power in it. You can do anything with the scanner that you can think of, as long as you set the rules in your own mind and you yourself are comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And this little girl's ears have not swollen. The only thing that we've had since we figured out the strep part of it and started using, and I literally take the terahertz wand and put it on my own ears. I take the scanner and put it on my own ears and concentrate on this little girl while I'm doing it, and it works.
It
It
does work.
completely and totally works. And literally, and I've also used some of the vials that Becky teaches about on her as well, but I did that in person. And she hasn't had anything in her ears at all, except for some red scaling and dry skin coming off when her mother forgot to refresh her Cephi dots.
Yeah.
So
Very nice.
I mean, it's very, very powerful. I'm really learning a lot about this device and what is capable of it. And it literally can do just about whatever you want it to do. You can
Yeah.
think of it, you can make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that more. Anybody else have anything they'd like to jump on and share?
Hi, Tammy, it's Tina. I'll reshare
Tina.
what I told you in the beginning.
Absolutely.
What is it? I believe it was June 26th is when I had my arm broken, which is the big bone that connects to your shoulder. I don't remember what the name of it. My dog helped with that process. Anyways, after learning what the benefits were with my mom who has Alzheimer's, a couple weeks later, after I broke my arm, I bought the package and started using it on myself. So now put some of the photos that I've been posting on my Facebook on the messenger.
Yeah.
So you guys can see it's been a month and a few days. Today I went in finally, 2 weeks ago I went in, they said, come in in 2 weeks, which was today. We're going to decide more than likely looking like surgery.
Mm.
I'm thinking, no, because that would put me, if I had a job like I used to have before, that would put me off work for 2 months.
Oh,
I
my.
couldn't do that. So anyways, I went in today and just like Shelly did with a picture of the spine, it was really weird. I did the easy scan 2 days ago. And for the first time, my shoulder showed up. You know how it only shows up? And I guess I'm thinking the reason it didn't show up prior to, because I had so much inflation, so much blood pooling in my arms, it was focused on that first.
Right.
So anyways, that's what I'm thinking in my mind. I don't know,
It
if
could
it's
be.
true or not. But it showed up. So I took it in. He was interested in the fact that, okay, how did I get this? It's like, well, you didn't give it to me, I brought it in. But he brought in also a copy of my x-ray and they matched.
Nice.
It was really crazy, but no surgery. I have to
Yay.
work on, was physical therapy to try to get motion back in my arm again, but no surgery.
Nice. That's so exciting. I'm so happy for you.
So am
Absolutely.
I. Thank you.
Yeah. It's incredible. It just really is. Everybody needs one. Welcome, Dan. If we are just sharing testimonials, anybody that kind of jumped on a little late, Dr. Jackie, you guys feel free to unmute yourself, share anything, and if you're here just observing, just make sure to follow back with the person that invited you here. So, anybody else like to share anything?
Just to add to that real quick.
Yeah.
This weekend I had a funeral to go to in Florida and before the hurricane. And at the funeral, I had a lady come up to me, a young lady. She came up to me and she goes, I saw you at a distance and I was waiting for you to finish eating and was hoping I was there after I came back. And she approached me and she says, okay, so and going to church, learning about this, and she asked if she could pray over my arm too. So almost a healing prayer.
Yeah.
And she said she's been doing it for a little bit. So I credit that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's incredible. I love it. Love it. I love it when people have the want to just reach out and at least offer, you know. So bless her for doing that. Anybody else like to share anything? Dr. Jackie, how's your mom?
Come on. I'm with her right now. Thank you for
Okay.
asking. When you
Yeah.
saw me disappear, that's what I was doing, going to handle her. Not handle her, but see what she needed. So thank you all for the continued prayers. I was just thinking, have we had anyone with a stroke? Ischemic,
Ischemic stroke?
on the left side?
Not to my knowledge, but I
Okay,
know that it can be helped. So
okay.
do you need any help
Well,
with any playlist or anything like that, or have you got it?
yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Okay.
But she is believing God, and she knows the name of her ministry is Miracle Week of Living. So she knows that God can and God will. We just got to do our part.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Well, we will continue praying for her, and you keep doing what you're doing, and please take care of you because you're
I
coming to
will.
Utah in a couple of weeks, and we
I
need.
sure am. And I think I've decided the first day I'm just going to rest.
Okay. All right.
But I was hoping, I know we've been recorded, because I want as much training as possible. I know everybody had a different agenda, but I'm coming to be inundated with training.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got to get that schedule up. I've been inundated with all kinds of people messaging me since I've been back, and I haven't had a chance to get that schedule out. So I'll get that schedule out.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So glad to have you here. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share?
Tammy, I have a question.
Sure.
So when you do the broadcasts, is there like a rhyme or reason for how long you do them? Like I know you can hit continuous and
I typically will muscle test to ask that person how long their body wants it, but if they don't want to be muscle tested, I just set a time frame for at least, 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours. It just kind of depends on what they're dealing with. And then I just let them tell me if I need to shut it off or whatever if they don't want to be muscle tested. But most of my people don't mind me muscle testing and asking. So I'm real good about doing that. So if you know how to muscle test, I'd say, muscle test and ask their body how long they want it. And you'll get a good clear answer.
well, it's actually for me. So
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
I had my enroller tell me that there was a place in there was organs affected by emotions or something
yeah.
like that in the home. And I've been having a lot of things that are coming up with the liver. And so she told me to run that. And so I put it on continuous, but I didn't know like how long I should run.
Now the continuous, just to let you know, it's going through each and every frequency, where the simultaneous, it kind of mixes them all together. My preference is to do it continuous and not the
That's how I
simultaneous.
feel.
But if you're imprinting something, do it on the simultaneous because it's quicker that way.
Okay, yeah, I usually do just the continuous, and so it goes through every one of them. But I noticed that there was something that I've been doing for the phlegm in the back of my throat. I do that at night. It's one of the homeopathic. That's also in that list. And so, yeah, because I just do that at night and it's like gone. All the phlegm's gone in my throat. It's like
Nice.
amazing. It's like I was waking up choking and it's just gone.
Yeah. That's great.
So,
You know, Pearlie has she'll take a drink of water and then start choking. I need to dig in a little deeper and figure out what's going on with her because she does that quite a bit. And I'm like, why is she coughing like that? Need to dig a little
yeah.
deeper on the little dog. So, all right. Anybody else like to share anything? All right. I see Dr. Darrell in the house. He's being really quiet today. He must be with a client or something.
No, not with clients. Just don't have anything to share. I've been gone for the last over the weekend. I was in where was I at? Tucson.
Yeah,
I was
with
just
the others.
Yeah. And so I don't have anything to share at this moment, but I'm still using my scanner constantly. People are still having really good results. So yeah, I'm still 100% behind it. I just don't have anything new.
All right. Well, it was still good to see your face.
Likewise, thanks.
Glad you're here.
Hey, Tammy,
Go for it.
I have a question.
Sure.
When you make your post, and what do you use to make up those graphs that you use?
Canva.
Canva?
Canva. Mhm.
They're always so cute, and I want to start like posting stuff like that to run selfies on people,
Mhm.
to set up kind of like you did for the fall season. So just go to Canva and I can make
Yep.
up. Okay.
They've got a free account and then I pay for mine, but it's just because I want to have more templates to mess with.
Okay.
So,
I love them. You do such a good job.
well, thank you. Thank you. I get told that a lot. I'm like, I'm a visionary and a creative. That's part of who I am. So, Pisces blood.
Not me.
Okay, Cynthia, before doing any other scans for first time clients, do you have to do an inner voice first? No, that's only if you want to run um, the easy scan. You have to do the inner voice with that. But you can run the other scans without the voice. Hope that helps.
To
You're
get the
welcome.
and so I mean you have to do the inner voice, right?
To do what?
You know, to get the playlist for the emotions or to see the results, don't you you have to do a voice, right?
Uh-uh.
No?
You only have to do the voice for the inner voice scan. That's the only thing that needs a voice is the inner voice scan. So in order to run the easy scan, you have to have the inner voice. Now, there are people out there that are they're not using a voice at all. Now, I've tried that on a couple of clients and I see a vast difference with it. So I still use the voice. There's been a couple of times where I've not because their voice is just not the recording wasn't right or something like that, but I'm a stickler about using the voice until Lauren says otherwise.
I've
But that
tried and there's no results, in the inner voice part. If I haven't had, but Becky, yeah, she does get results not using the voice.
yeah, you cannot use a voice and you'll get a full report. It's just in my opinion it looks different than if I were to use my voice. The frequencies are off, everything's different because it's actually measuring the frequencies in your octave in your voice. And if you're not using it, if you're not using somebody's voice or breathing or coughing or something, I just don't know how. I mean, I'm sure there is some quantum part of that is all legit, but even with my own doing my own without a voice, I can see a stark difference in the reports.
Mine has no results. There's no recording. There's no report. If I don't
Really?
have,
On just the inner voice?
if I do the easy scan, or if I just do the inner voice, if I don't have a voice, I have no report whatsoever.
Hmm.
I know. Well, it's
I've
like it
had Yeah, I get reports. I don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
Because I've even done it on remote clients where, you know, their voice recording wasn't enough, or there was background noise or something that I knew it was going to pick up on. So then I just didn't use their recording, but you could see a difference in the report,
Well, I
in
need to
my
try.
opinion. That's
I'll
just my
try
opinion.
Okay.
I'm not telling everybody not to do it, because if you believe in that and you think it works, then go for it. But I in my opinion, I think that using the voice is very important, because that's what I've been doing from day one. I am a big pusher on the inner voice. Inner voice to me is where the magic is, honestly. It literally saved my life,
Yes.
because I was on the brinks of suicide.
Um,
So, and I feel like if I didn't do it the way that I did it, I don't think I'd have gotten the same results. But everybody's different, and I honor anybody that, you know, if they choose to do it that way, that's their choice. And, you know, if it works for you, great. But I just see a difference in the scan results.
Thank you.
So, all right. Any other shares?
Now I do have something to say.
Okay.
So after what you just said, in reference to everybody can do it their own way, I'm thinking about that. And I'm sorry, what was the lady's name who spoke right before you?
I can't remember who spoke.
The one who just now who was speaking about she doesn't get anything when she
Oh, Lee.
it kind of reminds me of this whole world of vibration and frequency, because for you, Tammy, it's not really resonating with how you want to do things. So it doesn't work. You know, like that's just how things work, especially when you stop looking at physical things, when you're not looking at blood, when you're not looking at data, when you're looking at vibration. Your frequency isn't vibrating at the rate that it would be necessary for it to work for you.
Right.
And Becky does things that nobody seems to do because her frequency vibrates on that same energetic way, and someone else trying to do it, it may not work for them, or it may, just depending on the spectrum of what it is. But the last part of what you just said about if it works for you, then do it that way. I think that people might look at that, not from you in particular, but when that's said, sometimes people might see that as sarcasm, and I really want people to understand it's just the truth. It really, what you just said is the absolute truth, meaning it doesn't work for you, so you don't do it that way. But you weren't in any way saying anything negative about anybody who it does work for.
No.
And I encourage people who are utilizing it differently to really look at it in that way. This is a technology that however it works for you is okay.
Yep.
Because we're not talking about measurable things from the standpoint of blood or other analysis. This is all energy. This is all vibration, and we make our own rules. Like, somebody just said that we make our own rules when it comes to that, and it's really okay. And I want people to have the permission to do that.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree. And I hope I didn't come off as being a naysayer or anything like that, because
yeah, and I didn't even, I really didn't mean you, because I don't think anybody would have even taken the way you said it. But I think other people who say those same things, I think that there may be sarcasm going on there. You know, like, I'm not, you do you, or you do it your way. They really are passing judgment. I don't think any of us thought that you were. I just really want people to understand how true what you just said was. You can do really whatever you want to do, whatever resonates with you. And if it doesn't resonate with you, even if it works for somebody else, it's not going to work for you.
That's very true. It's very true. Thank you, Dr. Darrell.
I didn't mean to ramble there.
No, we love your input. Love it. Intention. Yes, intention is real, Scott. It definitely is. Any other shares, anything else that we can talk about for the next couple minutes before our Solex call? Solex updates coming next. No other shares? All right, guys. Well, we will be on again next week, same time. And just bring your interested people. You know, I've made this an event now in the group, so you should get reminders when it's coming. I just learned how to do that, so my apologies. I'm still learning. We're always still learning. So anyway, you should get a reminder for that every week. And the Solex call is next, so jump on that. And if you haven't gotten your Day of Discovery tickets, you better get them, because I think they'll be closing at the end, well, tomorrow. The tickets close tomorrow. So thank you all for spending your time with us, and enjoy the Solex call. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye now.